Welcome to the Boxing Bookie. Wow. AJ certainly took care of business. I'm going to let everyone bleed in, follow in, join in. Let me know when y'all is here. All right. I'll give y'all a few minutes just to pour in. We are live. The immediate reaction. AJ has just destroyed Francis Ngannou. And to me, this raises a lot more questions than it answers, to be quite honest. I think it definitely raises more questions. Like, what the hell was Wilder doing? I mean, what the hell was Fury doing? How did Fury get dropped and almost lose to? Like, how did that happen? How does that? This is a guy that should have never been in the ring with Fury, with the heavyweight champion of the world. Like, it should have never been in the ring with him. He's already, you know what I'm saying? How did that happen to Fury? Was it fixed? I mean, would Fury have to train much to fight this guy? This guy who had a record of 0-0, never been in a fight before, and he almost became the lineal heavyweight champion of the world. How does it? Someone needs to explain this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make any common sense at all. I'm just confused. Oh yes, Smoke. Vargas versus Ball. Sick fight. No, I'm with you. That was a dope fight. That was absolutely a dope fight. How did y'all have it though? Rocket? Always good to see you, my man. One of my favorite Patreons. Rocket, what's up, champ? Did you lock in? Did you bet on the lock of the week? Because we hit on the lock of the week again. Didn't do so great on the other stuff, but we nailed the lock of the week. Did you nail the lock? Did you bet the lock of the week? Because it paid pretty well. It ended up paying pretty well. I'm gonna put the link to the Patreon in the description. There you go, my man. Yeah, you did. So you made yourself some money. There's a link to the Patreon below. You can join that, $5 a month. You get the lock of the week. You can ask Rocket. We hit it all the time. We're making money on it. Didn't have the best week this week. 3-2 with the Vargas draw. If Paul would have gotten that decision, we would have did a little better, 4-1, and then I had Zhang. But we still 3-2. If you break it down, we're up a little bit for the week. It's all right. You know, I thought we could have did better, and I thought we deserved that decision in the Ball fight. Zhang had his chance. Zhang had his chances. You know, the longer it goes, the more Zhang is going to struggle. And I thought Zhang had his chance there in the third round. And even when he had the second knockdown, the 8th, 9th round, whatever it was, he was already starting to gas, you know. I had it even, but there's more fights tomorrow. Are there more fights tomorrow, Rocket? Yo, Rocket, what are they on? Are they on the Zone? I didn't even know there were more fights on tomorrow. I would have done more videos. Maybe I'm not gonna have time to go do the research. What are the Golden Boy fights? What's the other fights on tomorrow? Now I'm intrigued. Now I gotta look it up. I want to put this out there. Did anyone have Vargas? I could get Vargas and Ball. I could get it to a draw. I don't think a draw was unreasonable. I thought anywhere from 115, 111, Ball to 113, 113. Those were the reasonable scorecards. But did anyone have it for Vargas? Did anyone actually score that fight for Vargas? I'm interested in what other rounds after the first 6 they gave to him. Yeah, I have to look it up. Rocket, let me know. Because I didn't even know what I was going to do with myself tomorrow. I was going to have to get another hobby besides boxing or something. And I don't want to do that. So let me know where those fights are if you can look it up, because now I have something to do. But did anyone at all score that thing for Vargas? I can get it to a draw, so I'm not upset with a draw. I think if you gave the 2 toss-up rounds to Vargas, you get a draw. If you give the 2 toss-up rounds to Bull, but I didn't see it as a very difficult fight to score. I thought 5 rounds at most. 5 rounds minimum for Vargas. 5 rounds minimum for Bull, but with the 2 knockdowns, that gets it to a draw. So you couldn't have it any more than a draw. Like the draw was, the draw was the best possible verdict for Vargas. Also, Mark Chamberlain. I said, and I tweeted that this was going to be, I said, but first of all, this was the longest card in history. This thing started at noon Central Time, the main card, and went to almost 7 o'clock, and we got a second round knockout. Like, this is way too long. It was like an hour in between fights, not an hour, but it was like a half hour in between fights. Like, why did this thing go on so long? Like, what was the reason for this? What time is it in Saudi Arabia? It's 4 a.m. in Saudi Arabia. What was the purpose of it? Well, you could have ended this thing 2 hours early if you would have cut all the fluff out. Like, there was no reason for this to go on. It's 7 o'clock in Texas. It's 4 a.m. in Saudi Arabia. You could have ended this thing, at a reasonable time. You really could have. This was the longest card in history. I asked my boy Jake Donovan why they're doing this. If there was a reason. Is it like something like for their televisions in Saudi Arabia? Like, why are they doing this? But that thing just went on, and then a half hour went in between fights, and it was, it's just too long. Like, I feel like I watched an entire day of college football, but I watched 6 fights. And it was 6 fights, right? Or was it 5 fights? It was 6 fights. 5 fights, 6 fights, whatever the main card was. It was just so long. It's just like, there's no reason for it to go on that long. It was just tough to take. I don't think anyone had it for Vargas. I really don't, except for the one judge. And again, if the judge had flipped one of the rounds, it's still a draw, so it wasn't the end of the world. Right? The judge had it whatever, 114, 112, I guess. So if she flips one more round, it's 113, 113. It's still a draw. It's not a split draw, it's a majority draw at that point, but it still is what it is. Still a draw. So I think the good news is we'll get to Bull and Vargas again. And I don't think anyone's going to complain about that. Right? Like, I think we all dug that fight, the Bull Vargas fight. Like, let's do it again. I think Bull wins again in the rematch. I think Bull wins the rematch because Vargas was just, he got ahead and was content with going the distance and winning it or getting a draw, and that's what he did. He never really seemed to pick it up much in the second half of the fight. He never really went for the win, just like Zhang never really went for the win. But Zhang is so big and so exhausted, so exhausted. He couldn't, right? Like, I knew at that eighth or ninth round knockdown, whatever that second knockdown was, when first of all, that wasn't even that clean of a shot. Like, how strong and how powerful is that dude? Zhang, that when he hits you with like not even a clean shot, it has that kind of impact. That guy's got crazy strength and power, like crazy raw animal strength. And one thing I wanted to get on, one thing I wanted to talk about before I lose my mind. I'm skipping around here because I got severe memory loss. So give me love on that. That's a good card. Let me pull this up. Woodruff, Craig versus Glacklin, Reagan, Lundquist, Kem. Okay. Oh, Jezreel Corrales fights tomorrow. That's right. Craig Woodruff versus. Okay, I'm reading this backwards. It's got all Craig Woodruff, Reagan Glacklin, Kem Lundquist. Okay. Oh, John Fernandez and Jezreel Corrales. Okay. That's not a bad card. Adrian Taylor. That's my boy, Adrian Taylor. All right, that's a solid card. Good shout out from my boy. Good shout out from my boy, Rocket. Adrian Taylor is from Dallas. He's a Texas guy. He trains with what? Okay, it's in Detroit. Let me know how I watch this. Let me know. Is it on the zone? Let me know how I watch this because I'm into this card. Adrian Taylor is a good friend of mine. He's a Dallas guy. He's one of Errol Spencer's boys. He trains with Derek James. Good cruiserweight. And I think he's a little undersized. I wish he would go down in weight, but he's a good fighter. And Adrian Taylor, what you guys would know him for is he's got a win over F.A. Apache. And then he came back and he lost to Marcus Brown. But it was like after a year and a half layoff, he was, they promised him a big fight. They promised him a big fight and never delivered anything. He was out of the ring. But Adrian Taylor is a good fighter. I'm looking forward to seeing that fight tomorrow. Derek Miller, I know Derek Miller's an undefeated prospect. I think he's from Detroit too. And he's not a puncher. So that should be a good fight. It's a winnable fight for my boy Adrian Taylor. I'm not saying he's definitely going to win, but that's a good fight. I did see that. I saw Jezreel Corrales and John Fernandez. I saw a book on that. I was like, when are they fighting? Anyway, what I really wanted to get into, and guys, please feel free to comment. There's a bunch of y'all in here now. Was what's the DAZN announcer's name? The white guy with the southern accent, and he said, "Is AJ the best heavyweight in the world?" No, Usyk dominated him twice, so Usyk would be the best heavyweight champion in the world. And then Eddie Hearn, and I get Eddie Hearn as a promoter, but when you're the promoter and you say things like, "This is the best heavyweight in the world," this form, and your guy just beat an 0-1 guy. I get the knockout was spectacular. I get it. The knockout was spectacular. He scored a knockout of a guy who was 0-1. Like, can we factor that in? He knocked out a dude who was 0-1. This is a former two-time unified heavyweight champion who is fighting a guy that was 0-1. You should be embarrassed by that. You shouldn't be celebrating that. Like, this should be off TV. He fought a guy who was 0-1. Like, that matters. I swear to you, that matters. And yes, he did what he was supposed to do. He got him out. Second round. No sweat. Fine. But Eddie Hearn saying this is the best heavyweight in the world? Are you kidding me? He got dog walked by Usyk 2 times. How is he the best heavyweight in the world? And look, Usyk's going to beat Fury. Does anyone debate that at this point? Like, Usyk's going to beat Fury. And Usyk's not coming back to fight AJ for a third time. Usyk's just beat Fury and then retire and just be done with it. Because you've cleaned out 2 divisions now. You've cleaned out the heavyweight division. You've cleaned out the cruiserweight division. There's really not much need to go on from this. Like, you've done what you needed to do. And your career is set. It's complete. He's the first ballot Hall of Famer. I think Usyk is the greatest cruiserweight of all time. So he'll be the greatest cruiserweight of all time. And after he beats Fury, he'll be the best heavyweight of his era. All time, I rank him. You got to rank him above Evander Holyfield. Because Holyfield, I love Holyfield. But Holyfield wasn't the best heavyweight of his era. Lennox Lewis was. It's reality. Eddie needs to protect his investments. Yeah, I know. I do. He does, Rocket. But when you say that with that kind of enthusiasm, after you knock out an 0-1 guy, yet twice you got dominated by Usyk. Like, you say Usyk is the best cruiserweight best heavyweight in the world, but I think we can beat him in a third fight. Don't go on like, this is the best. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get it, Rocket? Like, I understand what you say. Yes, you can't go out there and kiss Usyk's rings. But Usyk kicked your fighter's ass twice. Like, we're not going to ignore that. We're not going to pretend like that didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? Right. Anthony was so excited to me. Yeah, he was. And look, he was. People were really, really down on him. I saw people giving Ngannou a real shot to win this fight. Like, I didn't know how this fight was going to go down, other than AJ was not about to lose to this guy. Like, I don't know. I didn't know if it was going to be a snooze fest like the Fury fight where AJ just wins? Does he stop him late? Or does he blow him out? I thought all those things were possible. The only thing I didn't think was possible was AJ was going to lose, and that's why I put it in the lock of the week. It's like there's no way AJ's not going to lose to this guy, But AJ has been lackluster in some of his recent performances. Ngannou's not a guy that presses the action at all. Ngannou's not a guy that really does much of anything. And that's why I knew he had no chance of winning. But could he disengage enough and stay away enough to go rounds and ultimately go the distance? The answer is no, he couldn't. And I think what's important to remember at the end of the day is Ngannou was 0-1. I'm going to read this comment from Rocket. We know Anthony was going to win. Eddie will be Eddie. Yeah, well, yeah, and that was the other thing. We knew if it went to the cards, we knew who was going to get the decision. But I don't think he was going to need a gift. If it went there, if it went to the decision, I don't think he was going to need a gift. Like, I don't think he was going to get dropped and he was going to need a gift. But who knows? Francis went home richer. Yep. Just as Joshua. $50 million for Anthony and $20 million for Francis. And $20 million is more than he's ever made in the UFC octagon, right? I would imagine. They don't get paid like that. So I would imagine that $20 million for Francis is definitely a career high purse for him, right? So good for him. Look, I'm not mad at Francis Ngannou. If they gave me $20 million to go get my ass kicked by AJ, I'll take the top. I'll take the ass beating. Give me the 20 mil. So I'm not mad at Francis to get paid. Do you? But at the same time, the dude is 0-1, and he's fighting a former two-time unified heavyweight champ who a lot of people thought for a period was the best heavyweight on earth. And there may have been a time. He was never better than Wilder. But the sad thing is Zhang, he loses because the stamina. Yeah. No, he's older. He is. I like Zhang, but if he doesn't get you out early, he's going to lose. It's just the reality of the matter. And I should have been a little smarter in handicapping that fight. I just thought, I looked at what Parker did with Joyce, and Zhang is just a better version of Joyce. So I was like, oh, for sure, Zhang's going to win this fight. He's going to beat him up just like Joyce did, but he's better than Joyce, so he's going to beat him up even worse. I should have realized, look, Joyce can sustain punches for a longer period of time than Zhang can. Zhang is 40. Zhang is fat, right? And he slowed down, and he couldn't get him out. And when he couldn't get him out, there's no plan B. Although, to be honest, that Zhang guy, look, and I'm not saying Parker didn't deserve a decision. What I'm saying is Zhang is an animal. That dude can punch. I mean, the second knockdown, he just clipped him a little bit with the right hook. And he went down like a ton of bricks. He had landed it earlier, just glancing. And every time he did, Parker buckled. It's like, how hard does this guy hit? I would say we need to get him in with a better trainer. I would say we need to get him in with Mark Breland. I honestly mean that. Because if that guy can land, if we could just have him throw shots, punches and bunches, he's going to be hard to beat because he hits like he does. So we just need to get him to throw combinations, walk people into things, teach them how to set traps and walk people into things. Because right now it's just jab, 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 right hand, and that's it. You can do that, but we need more of it, and I need to show you how to play with distances. I need to show you how to bait people in. I need to show you how to feint. I need to show you how to jab on a half step. I need to show you how to play with distances. There's a lot of things I need to show you how to do so that we can work this, right? Like George Foreman in his second career knew everything, right? The question is, I'm going to make an analogy. In basketball, it's like number 8 Kobe or number 24 Kobe. Well, number 8 Kobe was the athlete, but number 24 Kobe was smarter, right? So it's the same thing with George Foreman. George Foreman in his first career was young and lively, but the George Foreman in his second career had the mind. So it's a tough thing, Zhang, we need to get him the mind now. We need to make him smarter. Rocket says, salute to Parker. He won fair and square. Zhang didn't throw a whole lot. He didn't. He didn't. He's got to throw more. I mean, it's a fight, bro. You're in a fight. Rocket's absolutely right. You're in a fight. You have to throw punches. You're in a fight. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you, and a lot of times these guys, you saw it with Wilder, you see it with big hitters, they fall in love with their power and they say, I will get him, and then they run out of time. And it wasn't even that he ran out of time with Zhang, it's that he ran out of gas, right? Like there was no gas left in the car. I like Zhang. You know, he's fun to watch, even though he's extremely boring. Like his fights are always fun. So I look forward to seeing him again. But, you know, with this camp and with this style, he's not going to get to the highest level because he can't finish, right? He can't. He had him in that third round. He should have slammed on the gas, but there's no gas for him to slam on at this point. And that's it. Like, he needs to, when he lands that little right hook, put a left hand behind it, double it up. He needs to do something like that because he can hurt you. He has gone to the body before, but Parker was moving and Zhang doesn't move, so he couldn't get him to the body like he was getting Parker to the body, and he just faded out. I would like for them to run this fight back. I don't think they will. I think Parker's going to go on and get a big money fight elsewhere. So I don't know where Zhang goes. But would you guys like to see Zhang and Parker again? See him run it back? I really don't think it's a bad fight. I think it's an interesting fight, an intriguing fight. Octo, my boy Octo is here. AJ, nice. Yeah, AJ was nice. AJ was nice. Yo, Octo, let me ask you this. Who did you have winning, Bull or Vargas? He didn't have combat. He didn't have any combat. He always liked to catch opponents, punch and counter. Yeah, he's a guy that just blocks. He picks off shots, blocks them, and then throws the left hand. And like that just wasn't enough today, right? Like I mean, and there's no other plan. He doesn't set traps. He doesn't use you against you. He just does what he does. And today it wasn't enough. That's a good point, Smoke. Yeah, I want to get into Chamberlain. I thought Chamberlain looked really good. Gavin Gwyn, I thought sucked. Gavin Gwyn beat Woodruff after a draw with him. I thought this fight was going to be fairly one-sided. I really did. But Chamberlain was better than I even thought. And then in Gwyn's last fight, he fought a 47-year-old Italian. It's my boy. That's my paisan. But the dude was 47 years old. So, I mean, we need to consider that. If you pull up his box track, Gavin Gwyn doesn't have a win of note, really. Craig Woodruff is 12-6-1. Craig Woodruff is really only known because he somehow got a draw with Gavin Gwyn. You go through his resume, the next best win on his resume is Sean McComb, right? And who is Sean McComb? And then they're going to say, okay, he beat Emiliano Marcelli, who was 42-0-1 or something like that. He was 47 years old, my dude. Nick Bull was a beast. He was. I didn't even think he fought his best fight. Like, Nick Bull had to use his jab. If he would have used his jab a little more to get inside, he wouldn't have gave away the first 5 rounds of that fight, and he would have won clearly. Neither. Over 5.5. Oh, you took the over. I see. I love the over on that one. I love the over. I knew that was going over. I edged it for Bull. AKA Little Wrecking Ball. He is a little wrecking ball. Like, that's what he is. And I want to see him fight again. I want to see, they're going to run this back. But if they don't, I want to see the Wrecking Ball fight Eddie Vasquez. I really do. That's a fun fight. That's the fight I want to see. It's not a big money fight. It's not, huge names about. But Nick Bull versus Eddie Vasquez. That's a fight I want to see. That's a fight I'm intrigued in too. 126 is a good division, and I think Nick Bull accounted for himself quite well. I a lot of people were questioning my pick on Nick Bull, and I knew this was a 50-50. I had this, like, should I bet a draw? I swear to you I did. I was looking at a draw. I'm like, this is such a 50-50 fight. What if I just put a little bet, like a quarter bet on the draw? It was paying like plus 2,000 or something like that. Like, is it worth it or is it too stupid? And I thought I'd look stupid for betting a draw, but I was really tempted to do it. See, you should trust your instincts. Bull looks like he would beat. Yeah, Raymond Ford, and I'm not throwing any shade at all at Raymond Ford. Raymond Ford tried to fight me at the press conference when he fought Magdaleno on Ben Rodriguez card in San Antonio. Raymond Ford wanted to fight me because I've noted that he's lost to Eddie Vasquez multiple times. Yeah, he did. He was like, "What are you looking at?" Like that, and I was like, "Bro, you got to fight. You got a press conference. We're going into the press conference." He's like, "I'm looking at a future world champ, man. Just stay focused." And he says, "What do you got to say to me?" And I was like, I'm a reporter. I did my job. I thought you lost to Eddie Vasquez. Your promoter thought you lost to Eddie Vasquez, and I'm just reporting it. Like, we don't got to get mad at me. A year of discovery in boxing. I want to ask y'all this. And this is off topic a little bit, but someone else brought it up earlier. I think Octo. Mark Chamberlain. I'm super impressed with this kid. 15-0 now, 11 knockouts. He still doesn't have any great names on his resume, but this was supposed to be a step-up fight. What do we think of Mark Chamberlain? Is this a guy that can compete at the highest level? Is he going to kind of fade out at the British level, the European level? Where do we see this guy? Top 10 guy, top 15 guy? Can he get to a world title? Where's his ceiling? Because I really like Mark Chamberlain. I want to see him take a sizable step up. Wrong division, 135 pounds. Not a great division to be in. It's a loaded division at the top. But there's Javante, Shakur, Lomachenko, Isak Cruz, William Zepeda. It's a brutal division. But where do we see? I mean, I like Mark Chamberlain. I like to see him take another step up. And I want to get back to this. Bull looks like he would beat Raymond Ford. Yeah, Raymond Ford is just fast. That's it. He's lightning fast, so I don't mean to disparage him in any way, but he's just fast. Like, there's nothing else there. He's not a hitter. He's not a combination puncher. He's not a technically sound, fundamentally defensive fighter. He doesn't judge distance well. He's not in and out. He's just fast. He doesn't go to the body. He doesn't mix up his punches extremely well. He doesn't set. He's just fast. I know they got him to a world title, and kudos to him. He got that knockout. On my card, I probably would have gave him a 10-8 round, so he probably would have won that fight without the knockout on my card. Not the judges' card. Two of the judges had him down 3. I only had him down 1 going to the last round. 2 of the judges had him down 3, so he needed that knockout. He didn't need it on my card because I would have given that 10. I would have given him a 10-8 round. But so kudos to Bull, to Raymond Ford. But yeah, I think Bull would cut the ring off, and I think Bull would punish him. I think Bull would do similar to what Eddie Vasquez did to him, would beat him. I mean, honestly, if I was his team, I would look to get Raymond Ford in with another trainer, maybe. I don't even can't even think. Breadman, I know he's in the Jersey. Breadman's in Philly. That's not too far away. Can we get him in there? Andre Rozier in New York. I don't know, something like that. I think because he's just fast. There's nothing else to him. I think a change of scenery, get some other eyes on him, better, well-trained eyes on him. I think, but right now I agree with Smoke. I think in this camp, in this situation, he's at his cap. Like, this is it. There's no more going up. And when he fights a guy who can cut off the ring, he's going to lose. When he can fight a craftsman, he's going to lose. And, if you fight slow guys who just look to hit, who can't cut off the ring, like Magdaleno, like Reese Bellotti, he's going to look sensational because of his speed. But it's just speed. Like timing beats speed. You can cut speed off. Like there's a lot of things you can do with speed. Now, speed is probably the single best gift you can have, right? But it's just one gift. It's just one tool in your toolbox. And he didn't have any other tools in his toolbox. He's just fast. And that's why, like, I think the opinions, like the opinions on Raymond Ford vary so greatly. Like some people think he's great because his speed is great. And some people look at him like I do, and be like, he's limited. He's limited. I remember someone asking me who wins, Raymond Ford or Shushu Carrington. Shushu Carrington beats him asleep. And that's a good fight. They should make that in New York. You got a Jersey guy and a Brooklyn guy. Put that in the Garden. Let's do that. But Shushu Carrington would destroy Raymond Ford. I mean, hurt him because he's just as fast or almost just as fast. And he can box and he's long and he can use his reach. And like Shushu Carrington is way better than Raymond Ford. Shushu Carrington destroys Raymond Ford. Shushu Carrington is special. His kid is nice. He's got power. Like Raymond Ford's just fast. There's nothing else to him. And you're starting to see him get exposed a little bit. And I picked him to win a close fight in his last fight, and he did. But yeah, shout out to Octo. I told you the over on this fight. This thing was definitely going the distance. Definitely going the distance. Does anyone disagree with me? Does anyone think Raymond Ford, if he fought Shushu Carrington next, could beat Shushu Carrington? I think Shushu Carrington is awesome. I really do. And I don't hate Raymond Ford. Like, yeah, Raymond Ford wanted to fight me before his press conference last year. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. Like, if Raymond Ford, I'm 40 years old. My days of fighting are over. If Raymond Ford beats me up at a press conference, that's good for me. Now I'm going to be on camera and everyone's going to see me. That's good for me. I don't care. Right? Like, I'm not hating on Raymond Ford. I'm just pointing out. I'm just telling you what the tape shows. Right? Like, don't get mad at the messenger for telling you what the tape shows. If I'm scouting Raymond Ford, it's really scouting. Pros, he's fast. Weaknesses, everything else. Pros, he's really, really fast. What's his ceiling? He's really, really fast, and he can beat guys who don't know how to fight fast fighters. What's his basement? He's going to lose to every fighter who can cut off the ring. I mean, it is what it is. I wanted to get into two things, though. I wanted to get into the two kind of prospects on the card. We talked a little bit about Mark Chamberlain, southpaw, good power, long, rangy, good skills. But I'm going to reserve my judgment on him until he fights someone better than Gavin Gwyn. Like, I don't understand why anyone thought Gavin Gwyn was good. I said, and if you go watch my tape, I said this is another level. He's not good. Like, these guys aren't on the same level. Gavin Gwyn is not good. I was very specific about that. And Chamberlain did what he was supposed to do. He absolutely annihilated him. So good for Mark Chamberlain. But I want to see him fight someone a little higher caliber than Gavin Gwyn. And then Justice Uni. Justin Uni has talent, right? Like, I see it. He's pretty athletic. He could punch. I don't really get his record why he's only got 4 knockouts. You need to work on that. But I get it. I get why he's good, but he's also very flawed. Very flawed. He doesn't really know who he is. Does he want to come forward? Does he want to go backwards? Does he want to box? Does he want to fight in the phone booth? Like, he can do a little bit of it all, but he needs to figure out who he is, and he needs to have a better game plan, because there was no game plan in that. It was like, well, this is working now. Let's do that. Right? And everyone was talking about how Kevin Lorena was super motivated because his mom had passed, and that's tragic. No, I don't think it was like he was super motivated only in the first round or two. I think Justice Uni doesn't have a game plan. I think it's more that. I think Justice Uni just didn't have a game plan, and it took him a little while to adapt, and then Uni would adapt. I mean, then Lorena would adapt to the adaptation, and then Uni would have to do something else. I think he's good. I think there's something there, but he's got he's got identity issues. He's got an identity crisis that he needs to figure out before he really takes steps up. Because, I mean, he's good right now. He's at that level now where he can beat decent fighters. But he's not going to beat the best fighters without knowing who he is. You know, the first round, I thought Uni won. But he's going off the back foot. And a guy, one of the Patreons, Muscles Brown, asked me, well, what did you think? Well, I think he won the round, but I don't like how he was off the back foot. And then you can see later in the fight, he's fighting in the phone booth. And it's like, figure out who you are and implement that from the beginning. Like, establish yourself in the beginning. You know, you give the other guy confidence when you don't know what you're doing, right? I mean, establish what you want to do from the opening bell and stick to it. And if it's not working, then we'll switch to something else. But, like, figure out what you want to do. You're not a back foot fighter against this guy. This guy's a better boxer than you, or his only chance to win is to outbox you. So you need to bring the fight to him. When he brought the fight to him, he did quite well. We did Chamberlain. What were the other fights on this card? Anything? Vargas, Magomedov. Oh, that's right. Magomedov was the other one. Yeah, that was an easy one to pick too. Korobov, again, he's slick, he's decent, but he's just, I said he's out of his league, he's out of his element. What I'm shocked about is one of the judges, Oliver Bryan, I need to look this guy up, had it 38-38. Please tell me how you had that fight even. What rounds did Korobov win? This is a German judge. I don't even know what to say to this. Oliver Bryan had the fight even. The Magomedov fight even. Which Magomedov was outclassing Korobov from the opening bell on. What two rounds? The other judges had it 40-36. What rounds did you? I don't. This guy can't be a judge. 2 rounds? You thought Korobov won? I don't think he won 2 seconds. Kudos to Magomedov, though. And I want to clarify a comment I made. I made it on Facebook. I think people took it the wrong way. What I said was, if there's anyone out there who can beat Terence Crawford, it's Magomedov at 154. No, I'm not picking Magomedov to beat Terence Crawford. But if you told me Terence Crawford lost to someone, who was it? My guess would be Magomedov at 154. Is the only guy I think has a path to victory against him at 47 or 54. Once you get to 60, it's a different story. He might just be too small. But at 47 and 54, if you said, who's the one guy that you would bet could beat Terence Crawford if Crawford lost? Magomedov. Magomedov is a complete fighter. Magomedov can punch. Magomedov can box. Magomedov can get in and out on you. Magomedov can do a lot of things. Now, if he fought Terence Crawford, I would not pick Magomedov to win. I would pick Crawford to win. But I'm saying there's a path to victory for Magomedov. And I don't see a path to victory for anybody else at 47 or 54. And that includes Boots Enos. I don't see a path to victory. I don't see a path to victory for my boy Verge. I don't see a path to victory for Boots or anyone else at 47 or 54. Magomedov, it's a long shot, but there's a shot. And that's basically it. You guys got any last minute questions, comments, concerns? Please put them in the chat. Otherwise, we're going to wrap this up. This was a good day. This show went on way too long. This was literally a 6.5-hour show for no reason. Magomedov got a 5th round knockout. AJ got a quick knockout. The other fights went to 10 rounds. Zhang went 12 rounds and Bull went 12 rounds. But it didn't need to be this long. It really didn't need to be a 6-hour card. The card itself started at 9:30, right? The undercard, the prelim part started at 9:30 in the morning, and it goes till 6 Central Time. I'm talking about my time in Texas, Central Time. And it went on till 6:30. It's too long, bro. That's 9:30 to 6:30. And that's a 9-hour card. And most of it was just filler. It's like, just move on. Let's have some fights. All right, one more time, guys. I'm going to put the Patreon in the description. Please join the Patreon. We hit the lock of the week again. The only way to get the lock of the week is to join the Patreon. We don't miss with the lock of the week. The lock of the week, we hit it again. I want to let you guys know how we're doing. I was 14-3 before this week, and then I was 3-2 today. Not my best day. 17-5 the last 5 weeks. And then we just hit our lock of the week again. Guys, join the Patreon. You get the lock of the week. You can ask me a handicap breakdown, any fight. I will do it for you. As you guys know, I don't miss from my record. My record speaks for itself. 17-5. Absolutely on fire. And then you get the lock of the week. The lock of the week is guaranteed. We make money every single week. Plus, you get a ton of other perks. You get a free t-shirt, things like that. Join the Patreon. It allows me to do this full time. I put a lot of work into the videos. You know, each video I put out, I've probably done 5 hours of work on. So join the Patreon. Put the link is in the description. It's $5 a month to get the lock of the week. You can ask me anything. Get a free t-shirt. There's a ton of other perks. $5 a month. Also subscribe to my other channel, Texas Boxing Scene on YouTube. That's Texas Boxing Scene. All proceeds go to autism research and recovery. All right, guys. It's March 8th, 2024, from Texas to the world. Thank you, and God bless.